Welcome, everyone, to Real Estate on the Up, the podcast that takes you behind the scenes of the real estate world in Orlando. I'm your host, Kyle Madoran, and on this show, we're all about pulling back the curtain with the unfiltered truth about real estate. We're not just here to sell houses. We're here to provide concierge-style service because everyone loves being treated like a VIP. This podcast is your go-to resource for transparency, integrity, and the knowledge you need to make smarter real estate decisions. Whether you're a seasoned investor or a first-time homebuyer, we've got you covered. So buckle up and get ready to move up in the world of real estate. It's time for Real Estate on the Up. Robert Cagle is a sales associate at Coldwell Banker here in Orlando and is also an avid real estate investor. He's purchased and sold a range of properties, including apartment buildings and multifamily homes, which are definitely some of the most sought-after investments in our current market. Robert has also owned multiple franchise stores and remodeled and sold properties on both coasts. Last, but certainly not least, Robert is a military veteran with 15 years of service, and we sincerely thank you for your service, sir. So without further ado, here he is. Welcome to the show, Robert Cagle.
All right, thanks, Kyle. Yeah,
You're welcome.
looking forward to the interview. You know, like I said, I was in the U.S. Navy for a while, and when you're in the military, you have to do pretty much a gambit. You have to learn a gamut of skills just to complete your mission. So when I came time to know that, hey, my time is probably going to be up in the military due to service-connected injury, I decided what's the next chapter going to be. And that's when I started learning about investing and really all types of investing. And really what caught my eye, what made the most sense was real estate, because most wealth generated and retained is through real estate.
You're absolutely right.
With stocks,
That's
you
something we
can press
talk
a
about a
button
lot.
and you can win or lose in an instant. And real estate is a slow It's a slow game for the most part. But if you you learn the right things and you make the right connections, you really, over time, most of the time you come out ahead.
Absolutely. Terrific way to build wealth over time. And so when you were in the military then, did you ever see real estate as your future career, or when did that decision take place?
I mean, right at the tail end, I decided I needed to make some changes and quit living paycheck to paycheck. And I started looking into using my VA benefits, my GI Bill, and other things. And then I decided to use the VA loan to buy my first investment property. So I bought that property. And because I was able to buy a multifamily, I was able to live in it and rent out. And my renters basically subsidized my life until I was going through school and working on my business degree. And at the time I was going through school, I was able to open my first franchise. Really, real estate open up other opportunities as well to kind of grow in the business background.
That was a great decision to get into a multifamily property right off the bat like that. So is that what kind of opened your eyes to investing in those sorts of apartment buildings, multifamily homes, things of that nature?
Yeah. And I had a hiccup many years before, 4 or 5 years before. I bought a property without knowing anything about real estate, without knowing anything about finance. And I had the wrong debt instrument. I had an adjustable rate mortgage on a property that I was trying to keep long term.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
So I didn't, I knew that I needed to learn what I did wrong and why I worked out wrong. So I decided to study finance, and I got a degree in finance after leaving the military. I knew that real estate over time will work out, but sometimes you take a lump on the head, but you got to go back and reassess it and figure out what went wrong, what could be done better. And that's what I did. And that's how I picked out my first successful piece of property that I bought.
Okay.
And then from there, I started networking and meeting other people, like-minded people that also want to invest in real estate. And a couple of us got together and we bought a couple of houses out of state, and they kept growing, and we kept pulling our money together, and we bought some multifamilies, and then we wound up buying some small apartment buildings and kind of just growing that way.
That's fantastic. I mean, you learned from your mistakes, and that's what we're trying to help people is from our experiences, the things that we've done wrong, the ways that they can be successful right off the bat. So that is fantastic. And certainly we have so many people ask questions about buying multifamilies and apartments. And it's one of those things that are known to be really great investments, but sometimes hard to find, especially in our area here. Have you had many over the last few years here that you've identified as good investments locally?
Starting to see a few more. They're starting to become more and more opportunities available, just because interest rates have been high for a while, and it's starting to be a buildup of, of people wanting to sell the property
Hmm.
and buildup of people wanting to buy. So there's, as being a representative, helping people do those things, that would definitely, there's some opportunity there. In
Yeah.
Florida, there's a lot of opportunity just because there still is land available. And some of the areas, like I moved from California, there's not much land available at all to build up. So I'm primarily looking to build from the ground up, to build a property the way I want it.
Ah,
So that's what I'm looking for now,
that's great.
and I'm starting to see a few opportunities here and there. So
Absolutely. And with so many people still relocating to the area, it's certainly a great time to get involved with
yeah,
that. From the ground up is a great way to do it too, if you've got the experience.
yeah. And one of the things that the biggest takeaway that I've gotten is the knowledge is really just when you see an opportunity, it's to understand why it's an opportunity and why it's not. And if you understand when something is an opportunity and why it is, then it makes it a lot easier to actually act. And it's the action that's going to get you the type of lifestyle that you're going after anyway.
Right. You mentioned that you have managed franchise stores in the past. So, how has your experience with that shaped your understanding of both entrepreneurship and customer service? Because that's something for myself and for our listeners is something they know I'm passionate about is customer service.
I mean, you just have to learn to listen to people to find out what their needs are and why they do certain things, to be compassionate, and then try to come up when there are situations or conflicts, you need to learn how to resolve them in the best manner you can. And being in charge of like a franchise and having 15, 20 employees, there's things happen, life happens, and you have to learn how to roll with the punches, as they say, you
Always.
know.
And it seems like in every real estate transaction too, there's some sort of challenge that occurs. Yeah. Do you have a method that you use to tackle those challenges and setbacks? How do you go about addressing those?
I mean, the biggest thing when you listen is to not try to come up with a solution before you've heard heard the story. So really just to keep your mouth shut and shut your mind down and take in what the person is telling you before you start trying to solve a problem that they may not be the answer they want.
Yeah, listening, you're
So
right. Absolutely key. Yep. So you mentioned that kind of building your network, networking with other people helped you meet other like-minded investors. You began to grow that way by pooling together. So tell us a little bit about the importance of networking and building relationships in this business, especially as a licensed realtor.
one person doesn't know it, cannot know everything. So you have to have skillful, knowledgeable people with different traits and skill sets around you. So when something comes up that you can't personally take care of, which is pretty often, I would say, for just about anybody, you got to have a network that you can rely on. You need to be able to solve problems. And to be able to solve problems efficiently, you have to have a network of people that are knowledgeable and have experience. So
Yeah, no, we
that's
rely on so many people. I think that's something that if you're not in the business, you don't have an understanding of. And when you're an agent, you learn very quickly. We rely on so many other people on a daily basis. It's definitely a collaborative effort.
yeah, I mean, it goes for everything, but especially as an investor, if you can't solve a problem, that could kill your asset, your cash generating asset or whatever it is. If you can't figure out how to solve that problem, it's not good. So you got to be able to solve problems quickly and efficiently.
Yeah.
Um, and as a realtor, you got to be able to solve problems for people because you're dealing with the biggest investment of their life. Many
Right.
times people only buy one or two houses their whole life. Most of the time, it's their first house. With investors, if you don't have a good network and you're working with investors and you can't solve their problems, then you're not the right person for them. So
Yeah.
they're going to look elsewhere. So
That's a great point. That's a great point. For you personally as an investor, are you seeking out more opportunities that are purchase and hold type of investments, or do you like where you buy and renovate and flip? What do you see as being, at least for you, the most desirable?
I don't like excitement. So I'd rather get the long term play. It just for me it just works out better, and I'm more comfortable with it. And that's the thing with investing is you find your niche, what you feel comfortable with. You build
wealth of knowledge in that area and expertise, as they say, and
Mhm.
you just stick with it because you just keep repeating the same thing you do over, and that's how you get the growth that you look for.
Yeah,
So
once you find a successful formula, you just keep
yeah,
doing fine
yeah.
tuning and yep.
Um, one of my mentors, he told me you can hold a 15-watt light bulb for a while, but you try to hold one of those 60-watt light bulbs and for just a short period of time, and then you're going to burn your fingers. So when you try to chase these unrealized gains that are you seem like astronomical returns, a lot of times you're going to get burned. So I like to stick to something that I'm more familiar with, and a lot of the investors I know that have been doing it for 40, 50 years, they're the same way. They find their niche, they find what they're comfortable with, and anything else, it just doesn't make sense to them. So they're not going to be as eager to get involved in it.
No, that makes sense. And I think once you're in it for a while, you also develop a confidence in the system that you've established, the way that you do things. You kind of use that as a foundation, and you might tweak it, you might fine tune it. Once you've found that sort of path to success, it's easier to replicate. And it sounds like you've done a great job of that on both coasts. It sounds like too. You've been active in multiple states, which is amazing.
Yeah, in Florida, I have my realtor's license, and it's so that I can help myself and very few people. I like to work with investors that I just feel more comfortable because they value what I bring to the table a little bit more because they're more experienced. In California, I was just an investor. I've been involved with doing a flips, lending money, borrowing money, being a landlord, that type of thing. And doing a flip and flipping a property, it is a lot of work, but to me, it's not as rewarding as providing someone with safe, secure, long-term place to live. So there's another side to it that I enjoy. So
That personal
yeah,
reward, make it
yeah,
something that's
personal.
deeper. Yeah.
Yeah, you get to see the person month in and month out, or year after year that you're providing a place to live, and they're appreciative that you helping them out in that way.
I love that. That's great. You wear many different hats here. You've done a lot of different things and you've had so much experience and kind of do multiple roles sometimes at the same time. So how do you balance your roles as a realtor, real estate investor, and business owner?
I think a lot of it goes back to being in the military. You're required to do more than just one job. You don't wear just one hat. In the military, especially the Navy, you serve many different roles, and it kind of getting used to that. So having the military doing just one thing, it gets kind of boring, and it's kind of nice to have challenges. So being a business owner, being a landlord, doing investments, doing a lot of things at once, it kind of becomes second nature. And just doing one thing, I would hate to live that. Just, just can't do that. Yeah, I like to learn and grow. And the bigger problem you solve, the better you make people's lives and your own life. I look for challenges, as I
That's
say.
great. Well, you're a problem solver. And I mean, that is something that is so important. I mean, almost every day, it seems like in this business, whether you're a real estate agent or you're an investor, you are a problem solver at heart. There's always things that pop up. And so knowing how to address those issues is so vital. And it sounds like your background, both in terms of your experience in investing and in real estate, but also the military experience you've drawn upon is a huge part of that. So I think that if people want to work on being better problem solvers, what do you recommend that they do? Because I think that's something that will not only help agents, but anyone listening to the podcast.
I think the most important thing is just to find like-minded people. Find people that have already gone that direction, or people that are going that direction. And you kind of, if you're meeting people that are going the same direction as you, fall forward fast, as they say. When you make a mistake, you share the lessons learned with your fellow comrades, and you all try to help each other grow and become better at what you're doing.
Fall forward. I like
So
that. I think that's exactly right. Yeah. What advice would you give to individuals considering a career in real estate after serving in the military, just like
you just do it. I mean, if it's something that if you feel like it's something you're really interested in, it's definitely gonna be challenging. So it's going to help kind of curb those cravings of challenge and completing the mission because you're going to have a new mission pretty often, and it's going to keep your mind busy. And that's the problem that a lot of veterans have is Your mind's always racing because they're used to this fast-paced life. And being in real estate, there's always something that needs attention. So your mind's going to be occupied. And then there's the whole service side. So you're serving other people. It's not a one-man game. There's going to be people that need your help, or they need help from someone else that you may know, and you get to connect them. It's just very rewarding in that sense. There's challenges, and when you're used to facing challenges and overcoming them, I mean, to me, it's kind of a no-brainer.
I love the service mindset, the idea of serving. You in the military, obviously, that's what you're doing. And using that sort of perspective, bringing that to real estate, I think that's incredible. And that's exactly what we feel about the business as well, is we are service providers. We are serving our customers. And I can't think of a better advocate for that than someone who's a military veteran.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Robert, I want to thank you so much for joining us today. I think your expertise is amazing. You've certainly got such a varied background. You've done so many different things. And investing, especially around Orlando, is something that so many people are interested in doing. And so many agents are interested in also working with investors. So the knowledge that you've shared with us is awesome. And I really thank you for taking the time.
All right. Thank you, Kyle.
As we conclude another eye-opening episode of Real Estate on the Up, I want to express my appreciation for joining us. Thank you for being a valuable part of the Real Estate on the Up community. Your time and engagement mean the world, so make sure you subscribe and leave a review. Your real estate goals are my priority, and my team and I are here to provide the personalized attention and service that have earned us high recognition. If you have questions, need guidance, or are ready to make a move, don't hesitate to reach out. I'm just a message away. I'm Kyle Madoran, one of Rate My Agent's top 100 in the United States, signing off. Until next time, take care and make those real estate dreams a reality.